All right, today we're going to talk about the silent guardians of our digital world. The invisible security team that's working behind the scenes 24/7 to keep things safe. We're diving into something called intrusion detection systems. And yeah, I know, it sounds super technical, but stick with me because it's actually pretty fascinating stuff.
So, just imagine for a second, what if your entire digital life, your network, had its own personal security guard? I mean, one that never, ever sleeps, never even blinks. The second something fishy starts to happen, bam, it knows about it. Well, that's pretty much exactly what we're talking about today.
Now, of course, there's an official, kind of nerdy name for this digital security guard. It's an intrusion detection system, or IDS for short. And the official definition from the folks at NIST basically says it's a security service that's constantly monitoring and analyzing everything happening, all to give you a real-time heads up about any unauthorized access attempts. In other words, it's our digital watchdog.
Okay, but just spotting trouble and sounding an alarm, that's only part of the story. And this brings us to a really, really crucial point in cybersecurity, the huge difference between detecting a threat and actually preventing one.
Think of it like this. An IDS, our intrusion detection system, is like a detective. It's quietly observing everything, taking notes, and when it sees something suspicious, it shouts, "Hey, we've got a problem over here." But it doesn't actually step in to stop it. Now, an intrusion prevention system, or IPS, that's the bouncer. It stands right at the door, and if it sees the threat, it actively blocks it from getting in. So one detects, the other prevents. It's a super important difference.
So, how does our digital detective actually know what to look for? Well, it's got a couple of different tricks up its sleeve. There are two main strategies it uses. One for the bad guys it already knows about, and a whole other one for those new dangers nobody's ever seen before.
Strategy number one. Let's call this the most wanted list approach. The official name is signature-based detection, and it's exactly what it sounds like. The system has this massive database of all the known bad guys, every virus, every known attack, and each one has a unique digital fingerprint, what we call the signature.
And the process is really straightforward. The IDS is watching all the data coming in, and it's constantly comparing that data to its most wanted list of signatures. If it finds a match, boom, an alert goes out immediately. This method is incredibly fast and effective, but, and this is a big but, it only works for threats it already knows exist.
Right, so what about the new stuff? The brand new attacks, the zero-day threats that aren't on any list yet? Well, for those, you need a totally different and, frankly, a much cleverer approach. This one is all about spotting strange behavior, and it's called anomaly-based detection.
So, instead of looking for known bad things, this system spends its time learning what normal looks like for your specific network. It creates a baseline of, okay, this is how things are supposed to work around here. Then, anytime something deviates from that baseline in a big way, a user logs in from a weird country at 3 a.m., or a huge amount of data suddenly tries to leave the network, it gets flagged. If it's not normal, it's suspicious.
And this is where you really see the fundamental trade-off. Signature-based is awesome against known attacks, but it's completely blind to anything new. Anomaly-based is great because it can catch those unknown threats, but it's not perfect either. A clever attacker might try that old boiled the frog trick, making tiny, slow changes over time to gradually shift what the system considers normal. That way, when they finally launch the real attack, it doesn't seem so out of place.
All right, so we know how these systems work, but where you actually put these digital guards is just as important as their methods. You've basically got two main options. You can post a guard on individual computers or have them watch over the entire network. So on one side, you've got a host-based IDS, or HIDS. Think of this like a VIP bodyguard assigned to a single computer. It's a piece of software that lives right on that machine and watches everything happening inside it. On the other side, you've got a network-based IDS, or NIDS. This is more like the security team for the whole building, watching all the traffic flowing back and forth between all the devices. And here's a huge distinction. That NIDS watching the whole network can't easily see inside encrypted traffic, but the HIDS, that personal bodyguard on the machine itself, it can analyze data after it's been decrypted, which is a massive advantage.
When you step back and look at all this, you realize it's just a relentless, ever-evolving arms race. As the attackers get more sophisticated, our defenses have to get even more sophisticated to keep up. And at the very heart of this constant battle is one single critical challenge: accuracy.
Let's break this down. In a perfect world, an IDS gets two things right. A true positive is when it correctly yells, "Yep, that's an attack." And a true negative is when it correctly says, "Nope, everything's fine here." The problems happen when it gets things wrong. A false positive is a false alarm.
It's super annoying. It makes people waste time chasing ghosts. But the really, really dangerous one, that's the false negative. That's when a real attack is happening and the IDS just says, all clear, and completely misses it.
And this really just brings the whole thing full circle, doesn't it? The systems that are great at spotting the bad guys we know about will totally miss the new ones. And the systems designed to spot those new attacks, well, they can be tricked. It's this constant balancing act, a tightrope that cybersecurity professionals have to walk every single day.
So the big question we've got to leave on the table is this. As threats get smarter, as attackers use AI and automation to become faster and sneakier than ever, how do we make our digital guards just as smart? How do we get them to stop just reacting and start predicting? How do we make sure our side is always thinking one step ahead in this never-ending game of digital chess?